Welcome to Legal Vices, where we discuss legal issues and vices, and often the collision of those two worlds. Today, we're going to be talking about the criminal trial of celebrity chef Mario Batali, which concluded yesterday. It was interesting in the respect that it was not a jury trial. He waived his right to be tried by a jury of his peers. He instead chose to have it be a bench trial, which is where the judge makes all of the decisions. The judge is the decider of law and fact. He decides which witnesses have credibility, which ones don't. He decides how to apply the law. He decides how much weight to give the evidence, and he renders the verdict. So he put this all in the hands of a judge, which may have been a very wise decision in view of his history and these particular allegations. Several years ago, I think it was 4 women came forward and said that he would behaved inappropriately with them. He admitted that he had behaved improperly, and shortly thereafter, this other woman appears. Her last name is Tene. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but she made some accusations against him. Natalie Tene, we'll call it. I wish I knew how to pronounce her last name, but she filed a criminal complaint against him, and he was charged with indecent assault and battery in connection with these events that took place in this restaurant in Boston. In a very small nutshell, what she says happened is that she was surreptitiously taking pictures of him, and he saw it, and he called her out on it, I guess, and then she went over and offered to delete the photos and apologized. But he said, no, it's fine. Let's take some selfies together. So they took some selfies, 10, said 5 were still pictures, 5 were the live photos. And this happened over a period of about 3 minutes. So she took some pictures and then sat down, and 3 minutes later went back to take more pictures. And her testimony is pretty brutal. This is what she testified. This is her testimony in court. Now, that none of the pictures she took were shown, and her face wasn't shown on camera either. But this is her testimony. He has one of his arms around me. He has his face pressed up against mine, and he is pulling my body closer to his. And then she goes on to testify that while this was happening, his hands were in sensitive areas, touching me, touching my body. It was like a selfie, but other things were happening simultaneously. And what all was taking place, she says, again, quoting her testimony, it all happened so fast. And it was happening essentially the whole time in different parts. There was touching of my breast, touching of my rear end, touching of my sensitive feminine areas, in between my legs, touching all over my face, his lips on the side of my face, his tongue in my ear. It was just a lot happening. That's her testimony. Mario's testimony is that she is a liar. She was lying and making up these events for the sole purpose of financial gain. She has another lawsuit filed, a civil lawsuit filed against him, and was clearly hoping from their perspective that he would get a conviction and she could use that to bolster the civil claims and therefore get money. So she's a money grubbing wench that is full of lies and snaky allegations, and as part of their witness for the defense, they brought up the facts that she has some serious problems with her credibility. She was on jury duty several years ago, and she pled guilty to inappropriate behavior as a juror for lying during jury selection. She lied. She lied during jury selection by saying that she was clairvoyant, basically saying she was psychic and could see the future and could see things that aren't there. Yeah, and she apparently also violated an order not to discuss or talk about the case. So there's that conviction against her. Plus, there was also another case she was involved in where she was apparently trying to evade a $200 gym fee. So she forged a legal document. So there was apparently some very serious credibility issues with that. And at the end of the trial, the judge rendered his verdict. And this is the judge's verdict as he rendered it.
So, with regard to the case at hand, it's an understatement to say that Mr. Batali did not cover himself in glory on the night.
Being critical of
his conduct and his
Mario
appearance and
Batali's
his
behavior and not taking care of himself and reminding him
of
that's
a public person
essential to take care of
his
himself
stature at that time. It was a lesson for all of those people in public or celebrity positions. He's paid a high cost in terms of diminished reputation and financial loss. This case is about credibility, and it's the court's job to assess the credibility of the witnesses. It's the court's job to determine how much weight to give the testimony of the witnesses. This court, because it's a jury-waived trial, this court is the sole judge of the credibility of the witnesses.
There's no jury in this trial. This is all the judge.
The complaining witness has significant credibility.
Now he's going to go in on her credibility problems,
Those issues
many
were
of which we
highlighted
just mentioned.
in her testimony. Her conduct as a sworn juror in another case, in a criminal matter in Middlesex Superior Court, was egregious, and it was offensive to the rule of law. Testimony about her scheme to evade a $200 gym membership fee by creating a fictitious legal document is indicative of that lack of credibility. These were just two of the issues, but they were significant in the mind of the court. And they support the defendant's contention that her motive was financial gain.
So there's the court telegraphing his decision there, saying he agrees that it was done for financial gain.
As to the fact issues in the case, the pictures tell 1,000 words.
We didn't see the pictures, as I mentioned before. They didn't show the pictures.
Witnesses
We can just infer what's on them.
image in these photographs. Specifically, it was Exhibit 2, pictures 5 and 6, which showed the separation between the complaining witness and the defendant, Mr. Batali. But her reaction and lack thereof to the alleged assault is telling. As I mentioned, the visibility of the tile flooring between the complaining witness
They're
and
saying there's some space between them. It didn't look like he was all up
indicated
inside
a
of her.
separation and contributes to reasonable doubt. Significant as well is the 3-minute delay.
Mm-hmm.
Photographs.
You get mauled and assaulted, you take a 3-minute break and go back for more pictures.
A.m. And then again at 12:40 a.m. There's a 3-minute lapse of time. And during that time, it appears that the selfies were reviewed or retaken, or plans were made to retake the
See, the judge is insinuating here that they went back and saw they didn't have enough in their pictures to nail him with this assault charge, so they went back for more pictures to try to frame him better.
The burden is on the Commonwealth to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest standard in our system of justice, as well it should be. It requires that the fact finder be satisfied or be convinced to an abiding conviction, to a moral certainty that the charge is true. That's not the case here.
Here comes the
Commonwealth
judgment.
has not met its burden to the degree that's required by law. So Mr. Batali and Attorney Fuller and Caruso, if you could rise, I'm going to find the defendant not guilty to the charge of indecent assault and battery.
There's the verdict. The court found the prosecution did not meet its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Mario Batali committed an indecent assault and battery upon this woman, and that she just did this for money and fame and attention. But I can't help but be critical of Mario Batali for one reason. One reason. He did not do the smartest thing right after this verdict was read. Now, if I was him, I would have done something different, because remember, he's already admitted in the past to behaving inappropriately with at least 4 other women. He's just been acquitted of an alleged indecent assault and battery upon a woman. And how does he celebrate this newfound freedom from being under the cloud of behaving inappropriately with women?
Yeah, you could.
How do
Yeah,
you do this?
great.
He kisses her. Why would you do that? Shake her hand. Say thank you. He's admitted to behaving inappropriately with women. He fought this conviction of indecently assaulting and battering a woman. And then he leans over to say thank you by kissing a woman who, judging by the expression on her face, didn't ask for it. Didn't want it. I mean, she's just got that smirk. There's old Mario being Mario. And then I don't know what that look is, but that was kind of a bad place to freeze it for him. It was like, kiss him. Yeah, so that's how it ended. He's been acquitted. He kind of did a little something stupid there at the end. Whatever. That's what he did. And that's how this case wrapped up. We're going to be getting back to some more Depp and Amber Heard stuff as soon as possible. And as with this, other cases, as they come up, we'll talk about them. We'll live stream those. We'll deal with it. And we'll address things when we need to do it. Until we see each other again, stay legal and enjoy your vices. See ya.